Hey everyone, today's video is going to be going over on-site SEO, the different factors to kind of keep in mind, and I'm going to walk you through a live setup of me setting up on-page SEO for a site that I own. We're going to be doing it on a test page today, but first let's go ahead and go over the different actual factors to keep in mind. The very first is going to be the meta stuff like title, description, and keywords. For each of these you're going to want to include your keywords somewhere in there, but make it realistic. Like for your meta title, make it like let's say for this example our keyword is going to be dogs. So for our title, we could be like Dog Training Website 101. The description could be dog training is very important. You want to make sure your dog adequately understands all obedience commands. Click here to learn more. Keywords could be dog training, dog trainer, dog training tips, and I highly recommend the keyword area you keep set to 4. I personally feel that 3 is too few and 5 is too many, and the reading that I've done supports this as well. The next thing that to keep in mind is going to be the heading tags. That's H1, H2, and H3. They do go all the way to H6, but typically you don't see people using more than H1, H2, and H3 on a page. And what the heading tags are meant to represent is titles. A popular way for people to do it with static page sites is to break a post up into 3 or more different paragraphs, and they title each of those paragraphs. So let's say our post was about dog obedience. H1 could be dog obedience now, H2 could be dog obedience tips, and H3 could be dog obedience book recommendations. So you can see we include dog obedience in each of the headings, but they are each separate and are relevant to the paragraphs contained under that specific heading. The next thing is to make sure that you make your keywords bold and italic. And just do it once on the page. You don't need to do it on every specific page you're targeting, but make sure that you do it and make it look naturally. Don't bold every single keyword. Don't italicize every single keyword. Use it as emphasis in your topic. Use it in a area of your post where it matters and where you can clearly tell that it fits to emphasize, for instance, the importance of dog obedience, or why dog obedience works well because it makes your dog from going to the restroom all over your house and creating a huge mess, that sort of thing. The next thing is going to be going over using an image on your page, so image, and then an alt description. And for your alt description, you're going to want to make sure you use your keyword somewhere in there. So let's say we upload an image of a dog chasing a frisbee. We could make the alt tag for that. Dog obedience helps dogs chase frisbees, or something like that. It's an interesting example, but it still gets the point across. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at keyword density. This is actually a factor that I've begun to disregard personally, just because search engines are becoming more and more finicky towards keyword stuffing and web spam, and when you emphasize keyword density too much, your content can come off the wrong way to Google. So I prefer just to write my content naturally, let it flow. If I mention the keyword, great. I usually try to make sure I mention it at least once, but you're not going to see me trying to plug in dogs and dog obedience on every single paragraph, every single sentence, or every other word, just to make sure that I have a good keyword density. I either include it naturally or I don't. The next and final thing is going to be content length. A while back I did an internal case study where I ranked a site on page 1 for a 4,000 local exact keyword. I only used 200 words on the homepage, so it was an interesting test. However, that site didn't survive long term on the homepage. Now, I've seen a couple examples of sites with little to no content surviving in pretty competitive search engines keywords for long periods of time. In my opinion, those are exceptions, typically because when you look at a big data set and you check the page 1 rankings, you're going to see that generally all the articles, all the sites on page 1 have over 1,000 words of content or somewhere around there. I typically shoot for 1,500 to 3,200 words on my home pages, and typically that's because there's multiple excerpts of pages, or it's a static page that's broken down very in depth, and I go into a silo structure, which I'll explain later on in the next video. Okay, so now we're in the back end of WordPress, and I'm going to go ahead and go over everything about on-page SEO and how to set it up in WordPress. So first we're going to start off with the article title. Let's go ahead and make the article, since our topic deals with dogs, interesting dog information for you. Something pretty basic. Then let's go ahead and do a little introduction, and we're going to go ahead and upload a photo. So let's go to gallery, and then for title let's make it dog obedience for frisbees. There we go. And then let's make the alt text dog obedience, and then the description, teach your dog obedience by reading this information. Okay, and then let's go ahead and set it to right align and insert into post, so we can see that it's been inserted. Now let's go ahead and create our H1. So for this one, let's make it dog obedience tips, and we're going to go ahead and select it, go to the drop down format and set it to H1. Now we're going to go to the next paragraph and make it a new heading, dog obedience quick facts, and let's go ahead and make this H2. And now let's go ahead and, for the sake of this, I'm just going to copy this paragraph down a little bit further, and let's break this up, and we will title this paragraph love your dog obedience experience. So let's go ahead and select this title and select H3. And as I mentioned earlier, you can see that there's up to 6 different heading options, but we'll just be using the first 3. And so we're going to act like this article actually makes sense. It's actually just Latin and different information that I've pulled off of a couple pages. So let's act like it mentions dog obedience in here. And so we're going to act like this sentence makes sense, and we're going to go ahead and italicize dog obedience. And then let's scroll down here and say we find dog obedience right here also. And let's go ahead and select that and bold it. Okay, so now we've got our on page covered, and we've already set up our meta tags in the settings area. We've got our keywords in bold and italics, our image used with proper alt, description, and title, and we've got our heading tags. Content length is decent. It's 567 because this is just an internal page. So let's go ahead and publish it real quick, and then let's go right here and view it. Alright, and as you can see, this is what our article looks like. We've got the actual title right here in beginning information, introduction. We've got our image, we've got our first title, our H1, first paragraph, H2, second paragraph, H3, third paragraph. You can see the bold right here and our italics right here. So this is good basic on-page setup, and this is something that I highly recommend you research. If you want to learn more about on-page SEO, subscribe to truepassiveliving.com or join me on Twitter at AustinTPL, and feel free to ask me any questions you may have. This has been an introductory video on on-page SEO. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learned a lot, and thank you for watching.